with Warren. She basically showed me all the messages, the text messages, everything. It was a bit deep, like it was mad, and I don't really want to go into it because I feel like if I had to go into it, you lot will kill him. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. You lot will kill him. Things were said that weren't very nice. He was basically saying to her how he was just with me for a showmance or whatever.
Hey guys, and welcome to Little Black Book. You already know what time it is. Are you mad? Are you mad? Are you lean? Listen, we're back with another video. Now, I took some time to deal with this particular video. I want to take my time and slow it down. But this is my review concerning the Musa and the Warren Phillips situation. And they were a very power couple on YouTube, and they've obviously since broken up because of infidelity on Warren's part. So obviously stay tuned, lock in. If you're new, like, share, subscribe. For those of you who are returnees, you ain't got the minerals, baby. Are you mad? Are you ready? Agege. Let's talk about the video.
And it's okay, like it's okay to get hurt, it's okay to go through. It's not okay, but it happens and it's fine. You get past it and you move on.
A lot of women go through what Musa's gone through. I hope I'm saying the name correct. A lot of women go through what has gone through. And a lot of women can identify and understand. And I think the opening sections of that video, she's trying to explain something which I guess comes out wrong, but it's actually, I understand what she meant, and I think we all did, when she said, obviously, you know what, every girl, it's okay, I wanted to share my video because a lot of girls go through this. And it's normal. And I knew what she meant. She meant in the sense of this happens every day to a point where it's like, you know, I'm not the only one that has happened to. I'm not the only one that's suffered at the hands of a man in terms of cheating. I'm not the only one that's gone through such a painful situation. And obviously the flip side of that is that it's not normal. Or we shouldn't normalize it. It shouldn't be okay. It shouldn't be alright. Because no man should be, if he's not in a situation or a relationship where he's not ready to be committed, should be in a relationship. If you know you're feeling somebody else, you should go and leave that relationship and be with somebody else. But that's something, that a message that is a bit misconstrued. I feel like that message is never really preached to men. What we have preached to women is, you know, be submissive, be a good wife, cook clean, be a responsible businesswoman, be the super mom, be the super nanny, be the great wife, and do basically everything. And we've given a set of measurements and guides to women, but we haven't given that to men. I mean, we haven't put a guide down in terms of men, how to become a man. Those of you who haven't got fathers, how do you treat a woman? Like, because men are in a place of entitlement, you have to understand that we actually need more education. Because when you're in a place of entitlement, you're free to do as you please. Whereas a woman, because she's not in a place of entitlement in terms of power struggle between a man and a woman, she's handed down a set of guides of how to behave. So she will always behave accordingly. Most women anyway, will behave and will probably never want to cheat or never step out even though they've been hurt by a man. And the reason being is because the set of guides we've laid down for women and men. Men don't get that guideline. We give them leeway because they're in a place of entitlement and a place of power that's built upon a system of patriarchy, which will probably never ever end. What we are looking for in that system is men to take responsibility for action. It's actually say, let's raise the bar and say men need to be held accountable and other men need to hold them accountable, because in that system, men are in power and you need other men who are in power to check other men. And until we do that, you're not going to see an effective amount of change to see certain behaviours like cheating go out the window. My next kind of point is around cheating anyway. Why do people cheat? Well, if we look at the situation with Musa, I think she kind of hit upon...
When I started doing more with work, I started getting big opportunities. I started earning a lot more. And I do feel like work did put a bit of strain on our relationship. I've always been very hardworking, and I've always been very much, I set goals and I make sure I achieve them.
The nail on the head. And I think I might talk about the Warren situation as well. But now she mentioned about the fact that she felt like, you know what, she was getting to a place where she was growing, she was getting more jobs, she was, you know, becoming more successful in what she was doing, and it got to a situation where Warren even mentioned to her, listen, you're spending too much time working.
And prior to that, Warren did explain how he felt like I was very work orientated, and he just felt like I did way too much work-wise, which I never thought I did, because even if I was, it wasn't for me, it was for us. So whatever I was doing it for us, because I had very amazing opportunities. I had so much things going.
Now, there is a genuine case for that in certain situations where relationships do get to a point where the couples or the people within the relationship are so heavily focused on their career they forget about their partner. Do I think that happened here? No. The reason why I don't think it happened here is because Warren never stated that in his own video. When he put his my side across, his point was not to do with the fact that she was working. His point was to do with the fact that, do you know what, fam, at the end of the day, my heart and my head were saying two different things.
For anybody out there that's in a situation where your head and your heart is telling you two different things, the best thing you could do is just to cut all ties and start afresh, because all you're going to end up doing is doing what I done and digging and digging and digging, and before you realise you're in a situation that you were blind to see because you were trying so hard to please both parties.
So for me, that let me know that it had nothing to do with her job, but all to do with how her job and how her success made him feel. Let me be totally honest. A lot of us men, sometimes we are in the shadow of a woman at the time, and what we're trying to do is, because we're not comfortable in our skin, we're not comfortable with where we are right now, it makes us act out. Because let me tell you something about cheating. Cheating is all about power.
It is what it is. So he did realise that he wanted to spend time realising that he wanted to up his game a little bit. So I do feel like, now thinking about it, I do feel like, not that he was intimidated, people might think it's intimidating. I think it was more where he was like, fuck, Maz is doing this and I can't really level up. Does that make sense? I feel he realised that he needs to level up.
It's all about how much I can control the narrative. If I can cheat on you, I control you. Why? Because your reaction will inevitably be an angry one towards me, but I've made you feel that way. I controlled the narrative. Do you get what I'm saying? The power is also in the fact that I chose to go out of the relationship. I can do as I please. It's about power. Do you understand? That girl that I probably slept with probably wasn't even as good looking as you, but she made me feel like $1,000,000. Why? Because she's not doing what you're doing, which is basically making me feel like an absolute king and giving me all the power in our situational play. Because whilst I'm having sex with her, she's giving me all the power that I wanted, which is I want total dominance. That's what it is. Do you get what I'm saying? So you have to understand that a lot of these things, when it comes to cheating especially, is always about power. That's what it is, power of choice. The fact that you feel powerlessness as well is also about power. That's why a lot of people go outside a relationship. But let me just get into the actual video. And just say the last point I want to say as well. I'm glad that Mary Musa came out with Warren G and just kind of gave us an explanation. The reason why I say that is because we deserve an explanation. You're not going to make money off us and be a YouTube couple and not actually come to us and actually explain what happened. You owe us an explanation. I don't care what anyone says. When you become a YouTube couple and you know what you're doing, you're pushing products through your YouTube as a YouTube couple, you're getting the money by being a YouTube couple, you owe the YouTube system an explanation as to why it didn't go through. You owe them because you put your relationship on the YouTube to benefit from us watching you.
Who, from what we have discussed, they were together for about 3 years, and I think prior going on Survival of the Fittest, which is where I met Warren at, I think they were still unsettled. I think they were broken up, but you know when there's still feelings there. So obviously his ex has had to watch him go on a show, which I don't think she was aware of, and watch him get romantic with someone else.
You know, they met obviously on Survivor Series. You know, they got along there, but at the time he had obviously fresh kind of finished with the ex, I believe, but there was still some kind of things going on, lurking and murmuring in the background. And these are some of the red flags that she mentioned that she should have picked up on, but she didn't pick up on. And it's normal, it happens. So one thing the first question that came to my mind was, wait, did Warren actually finish with the girl before he went into Survivor Series? Because it sounds like the girl hadn't finished with him. Did he have that clear the air conversation? Did he have that I don't want you no more conversation? Or did he, in fact, he didn't even tell the ex, I think that's what Marion said, he didn't even tell the ex that he was going on Survivor Series. Already we've got a liar. Already we've got somebody who's moving him mad. already we've got a conscious choice in choosing what you're going to do. To go on the show, not tell your ex or tell your girlfriend at the time, yeah, is to already start a process of moving in darkness and moving mad. So already this is a conscious choice you're making. You get me? She mentioned as well, not one thing I noticed as well was that, you know what, she took her time in exposing Warren and not like, she didn't want to go too hard. Now here's my point of view in this situation. I really like Maz. I think she's got great energy and a very great innocence about her. Very, very pretty girl.
With Warren, she basically showed me all the messages, the text messages, everything. It was a bit deep, like it was mad, and I don't really want to go into it because I feel like if I had to go into it, you lot would kill him. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. You lot would kill him. Things were said that weren't very nice. He was basically saying to her how he was just with me for a showmance or whatever.
It was also said as well, there was a point that was made about Warren being with her for show, and actually I saw a tweet today where they highlighted what the ex had said as well on her Insta stories about saying that again, that Warren, that you know what, she just basically pointed out the fact that Warren had said to her that, you know, the dating between himself and Mazzy was actually done for show. How much I believe with that? I believe there was definitely some part of it, and when I say show, I think it's more of a case of how can I ride this train till the wheels fall off. Now it may not be a really conscious thought in the foreground in terms of you planned it to do that, but you know what, the unconscious mind looks for opportunity to win, and so when you try to look for when your mind is unconscious working in the background to make you win, you do certain behaviors that you may not think are taking the piss, but you're taking the piss. In the sense of, for instance, okay, you said obviously you got your own teeth done, your own hair done, whatever, blah, 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 but you knew that being aligned with this girl will open up opportunities. Now, we don't get into friendship groups without understanding there's some benefit here. The benefit maybe we're interpersonally linked, we've got the same ideas, but we've also got the same attitude and values, and so therefore we push each other. But we're not devoid of knowing that, okay, this person has certain opportunities in this here. If I link myself to them, I know that potentially just being a friend, I really appreciate the energy, I've got a love for them, but also at the same time, back of my mind, I understand as well, they open doors. And so we're not devoid of that, we're not naive of that. And so I know that Warren, in the back of his mind, that would have been playing part of his mind. It's just that, you know what, and the reason why I say that is because when I watched his video, he said, you know what, he knew that Maz was better for him.
Coming off a TV show, I knew I wanted a fresh start. I knew that Maz was perfect for me. She was everything I wanted. But at the same time, I didn't want to stamp all on someone's heart in fulfilling what I wanted to fulfill.
He knew that Maz was doing big things. So you know already that this girl, is moving in a certain direction that your life was not moving in. And therefore, when you link with that girl, your life will begin to move in that same direction. Therefore, you are thinking about the opportunity too. It's not that I don't think you don't. I'm not saying that Warren didn't think about Mazzy being a lover or anything like that, or had only thought about what he can get from her. But I'm saying that was part of the process of the thinking, because that's also going to be the reason why he cheated. I'm going to break it down, but don't worry about that. We got this for you.
Very standoffish about moving in fully, because I was thinking it's a bit soon after the cheating. Like, it's me fully like saying, yeah, like I'm with you to the end. And then I was just like, do you know what? Forgiving him. I chose to forgive him. I can't hold on to the anger. I can't hold on to the hate. I've got to just move on.
I think also as well, you know, when she mentioned about the fact that she moved in with him after she forgave him for the first cheating, and soon after, I mean, obviously she's learned from that, so that's great. I think just for people who are watching this video, I want you to understand something. When someone cheats on you, I think, you know, Miriam had the right idea, which is like, you know what, when I forgive, I have to try and forget. When I say forget, I don't mean fully forget, because no human can fully forget. It's a case of I have to put certain things behind me and act as if almost like you haven't done it if I want to move forward with you. Because that's the only way I'm going to move forward with you. I think the difficult thing here was that there was cheating done quite early, and then she moved in with him, meaning that she actually gave him the power again. And that's me saying that from a very black and white standing point, because it's not really that simple. But what I am saying is that, you know what, there should have been something like cheating, it requires a mindset of going to retrace the steps, actually diligently seeking to break down the answer of why we got here. What I feel like Miriam didn't get a chance to do, because it's something that we learn we learn as we experience, we learn from people, we learn from, you know, professionals and stuff like that, how to deal with certain situations. If she had a professional around her, the person could have said, listen, before you get back into that relationship with him, before you reconcile, before you go and move in, you need to have counselling. And I put it across. When I say counsel, I mean sturdy wisdom from somebody who's going to break down and get to the crux of why Warren actually cheated and say, look, Miriam, can you deal with this? The reason why he did this was because of this particular thing. Not because of Miriam herself, but to do with what he's dealing with. And so if that's the case, well, how do we go about actually voicing your opinions? Because you know what? Because she didn't have the counselor, you know, the Bible talks about, I've always mentioned this, that, you know, King Xerxes had 7 wise men around him. You know, King Darius had Daniel as a wise counselor and other wise mages and people around who had wisdom. Why? Because you know what, the safety is in the multitude of your counsel and in the wisdom of your counsel. So when you have those wise people around you speaking into your life, they can speak wisdom into your life for you to make certain decisions appropriately. I feel like she needed somebody to just be around and coach her through to say, listen, look, you all need to sit down and discuss issues before you move in. Because of what he's done, it requires it requires somebody who's going to be understanding of both parties, but actually get to the crux of why we got to here. And because Warren doesn't understand himself, this is why he needs counselling, because if you don't understand yourself, you will always repeat certain mistakes.
When I started doing more with work, I started getting big opportunities, I started earning a lot more, and I do feel like work did put a bit of strain on our relationship. I've always been very hardworking, and I've always been very much, I set goals and I make sure I achieve them.
Work put a strain on the relationship. No, that may be a case that work does that, because we have seen relationships that work can do that. Do I believe that's the case for them? I don't think it is. Like I said, I mentioned earlier on, I think in this particular scenario, you know what, Warren mentioned something in his video, which was that, you know what, he just wanted to sometimes, like for instance, go to a meal and not have a camera in his face. And I believe that. I believe that was part of his thinking.
When they see you as this power couple, then there's extra pressure there. All I wanted was a normal relationship. I wanted to go out for food, put our phones away. I didn't want to broadcast anything. I just wanted a normal relationship, and that's hard when you're in the public eye so much. So at the time, my escape from that was something that I was used to, which was normal for me, which was before I went on TV.
Do I believe that's why he cheated? No. I believe that's not the reason why he cheated at all, not even close to. But it was a complaint that was on his mind. I think for him, you know, a lot of people sometimes don't understand why they did something. They know they did something, they know that they did something by choice, but they're not sure how to break it down as in, why did I do what I did? And for me, looking at Warren and listening to what he said, there's a clear reason why he decided to cheat. And the reason why is because he had 2 things. When he said he's got his head and heart, what we're talking about is your future, which is basically a cause for change. You see, for him to go with Mazza means that there's going to be some uncertain period of time where you're not comfortable. You're going to be in a new arena. You're going to be stretching yourself. You're going to be having to improve yourself. You're going to be having to work on yourself and actually increase yourself in productivity and actually your greatness. Whereas what that means is that your kingship is challenged. Are you really a king? Are you really a man? Are you really a leader? Now, that may come into play because it's not really about the finances per se that Mary might be earning more than him. It's more about the fact that you yourself are not rising to the challenge of the individual you're dating, and therefore you feel less of a man. Now, what happens is, when you go back to your ex is your past, your ex is your comfortability, your ex is a person, yeah, that reminds you that you are a king, but only a king because you are who you are to her. Because, and Miriam mentioned, said, oh, you know what, like, the girl was making bare noise about it just because he's a model. And what does that mean? A model to this girl is hench. He's a king. In fact, let me bow down, lay flat. But to Miriam Musa, she's also a model. And therefore, your model to her model and the level that you're at is nothing. And so therefore, that awe-inspiring, that your lordship kind of feel where your girl's looking up to you doesn't happen. What you're meeting at the moment is a girl who's meeting you eye to eyeball, and you're unable to look her in the eye because you're not where you want to be. And Miriam mentioned the fact that obviously she felt that maybe potentially, you know what, he had to up his game, and he potentially didn't want to up his game. Why? Because it takes hard work. And where he was with that ex-girlfriend represented what was easiest to do, which is to live a life of the not having to try too hard, but being called a king, receiving the plaudits without the work rate. Do you get what I'm saying? We choose the easier path oftentimes, and that's what we had with Warren. That's why he cheated. What the girl represented. I don't buy his excuse of the fact that, you know what, his head on the heartworm in different places. No, the truth of the matter is, bro, you chose your comfortability over stretching yourself. That's the truth. And Miriam Musa scares you not because she got more money, but because she's moving in a direction you're not sure you can keep up. That's why. Well, I know these things, trust me. It's mad.
When you're in the public eye so much. So at the time, my escape from that was something that I was used to, which was normal for me, which was before I went on TV, where I could just put my phone down and I could just be like, that for me would just seem like not the norm, but like less, not staged, just, I don't know, I don't, it just felt less broadcasted, so to speak. So
it was crazy as well that she mentioned that, you know, Warren slept with an ex literally a month. It was crazy as well to mention that Warren slept with an ex a month after he had already slept with the girl and got found out that he was cheating. That for me lets me know, number one, the relationship with the ex never ended. They've always been continuing that relationship throughout. The problem is obviously that he had never finished the last relationship. You see, and when you've got unfinished business, yeah, that door was left open. That person can still walk through. When your heart hasn't closed to that individual and it hasn't healed, and you're still wounded and your heart's still open up, what happens is intruders can enter and therefore cause you to act in a rude way. What's that rude way? A wounded person, when you press that wound, how do they react? It's da. And that's the exact same way that Warren has reacted in the situation. It's da. It's the ah. Because at the moment, what he's facing is he's seeing this girl that he wants to be with, that he wants to up his game for, but the wound of opening that, he's still got an open door to that ex-girlfriend. I mean, how can you say that, you know what, fam, I don't want to hurt anybody, but you're happy to hurt your real girlfriend now in order to preserve your ex-girlfriend who you say was a friend? It was never a friend. You don't have sex with your friends. It was never a best friend situation. It was more of a case of what she was offering you and what she represented to you and how it made you feel. Hence why you went there. You see, facts sell stories, but stories sell. So what I mean by that is people buy out of emotion. People move out of emotion. So what's the emotion here? The emotion is the fact that what this girl made you feel like, Warren. This girl made you feel amazing. Why? Because of what she saw in you and how she saw you, putting you on a particular platform ahead of herself. Hence why she kept on chasing you even whilst with Mary Musa. Hence why she was embarrassing herself in a sense of the fact that she had a conversation with Mary Musa and still wanted to go with you, because for her, she was chasing the big prize. She was getting the big fish in the big pond. And so therefore for her, she was actually elevating by getting you. It was interesting as well to hear that, Miriam mentioned about, breaking down, and I think relationships can do that to you. Relationships can do that to you. They can finish you, they can break you, they can hurt you, and it can show us the truthfulness of our hearts and how delicate they are when it comes to lending it to somebody else. I think also as well, moving from that point as well, there was something else that was made out in regards to the IG situation. Basically, there was an Instagram situation where Oren got upset about a guy who liked his own picture or something like that. I don't know how it went, but what it showed me was insecurity that is bred in him begins to erupt. Because why? Because you're doing something mad and you think that she's capable of doing something mad. Trust me, I know, because like I said, I've moved mad in the past. Because I've moved mad in the past, I know it's created insecurity in me that now when I get with a girl, I think to myself the danger of what she could do, because I've stolen people's girlfriends before. So that means I know what someone can do. I know what they're capable of. I know what they could potentially move mad in. I know what kind of darkness that's inside of every human being that they potentially could listen to. And so therefore it makes me insecure. So certain things will make me insecure about the way I look at certain scenarios. I won't look at it normally. And that's what has happened to Warren. He's not looking at a relationship normally because he's been moving mad. Do you get me? Moving mad, that's why. Of you, it lies with herself. And that's what human beings are. That's why we need Jesus, because if it wasn't, our own standards will be according to what we feel like at that time. We may raise them, may lower them at any time because of how we feel. And so when I saw the situation is, you know what? When I saw the situation, I said, you know what, fam, it's easy to get to the position where Musa is and be hurt. And now she knows it's in a better place. But it's easy to be the worrying guy too, because if you don't pay attention to yourself and what you are used to and what makes you tick, what happens is you tend to repeat the same mistakes. What we don't want to see is the same mistakes. Do you get me? So yeah, guys, that's my little review. I hope you like, share, subscribe. I hope you liked the video. I hope that you're going to share it. For those who are returnees, make sure you what? Like, share, subscribe too, and make sure what? You ain't got the minerals, baby. Are you dumb? Are you mad? Are you ready to lean? A gay.